In tonight's speech, the president is expected to highlight the growth of the American economy after the pandemic. And by many measures, the numbers are indeed on his side. Unemployment is down, wages are up, and the economy overall is expanding rapidly. However, costs for the typical American family are also up. And more Americans say they are struggling to pay their bills today than 6 months ago. In our recent poll, more than half of the people, this is out this morning, say they are concerned about their ability to pay for everyday essentials like gas and groceries. We spoke with one middle-class family that says in the middle of this so-called recovery, they feel left behind. When we first met Gabe and Nell and his family outside their home in Beacon, New York, he, like much of the country, was in a state of economic shock.
This has never happened before. This has never happened before.
It was March of 2020, and Gabe had just lost his job as a sound engineer for a company doing corporate events. We were there the day of his last paycheck. So April 1st, are you going to make a mortgage payment or not?
Good question. We haven't even talked about that.
We've since returned 3 more times, most recently last week, where we heard something that may surprise you.
You'd think the last time you guys would be here, it'd be great. But this is probably the worst that I've ever been.
Even as President Biden touts his economic record.
After my first year as president, the United States had the fastest economic growth in nearly 4 decades.
People like Gabe are still far from recovery. How do you think the Biden administration's doing?
I don't see it working for us. I don't. We don't see it. You want to, after the last administration, you want to be like, yay, they're helping us. And they made all these promises. And then you just see everything going down the tubes.
Good.
2 full years now into the pandemic, Gabe's career hasn't bounced back. And even with his wife Claudia earning income as a property manager, the Annells recently had to make the difficult decision to ask relatives for help.
It's embarrassing. I don't like it. I don't like it.
And Claudia fears the rest of the country has already moved on.
It's just a long time, and people are tired, and I don't think people or the government or anybody is really all that worried about how people are getting by anymore.
You rack your brain for an explanation for why 2 years in you're at a financial low point. What do you come up with?
Definitely no assistance for a time when this country definitely needs help.
More than 72 million Americans say they are struggling to pay their expenses, a number that's actually grown by about 2 million people a month since last August. And it's not hard to understand why. With inflation at a fresh 40-year high, the average American family is paying an extra $250 every month just to live like they used to.
Pretty much everything's going up, but not our pay. So, you know, it's very difficult to not be mad.
The family had been getting by thanks to the government stimulus checks and extended unemployment benefits. And when we spoke to them a year into the pandemic, Claudia in particular felt seen and supported.
I don't feel as skeptical as I did last year, because last year I just really felt like, wow, we're just going to be in an island, you know? But this year I feel like, okay, I think the government is hearing us and trying to get somewhere.
But now those benefits are gone. And like so many other middle-class families, the Annells have had to cut back.
Don't go out anymore. Drive as least amount as possible because gas prices are insane. Oil prices for the house, not doubled, but pretty close.
Wow.
So, you know, now we're very, very, very frugal.
What about food?
Like we told our son, no more snacks. And only the essentials now, you know.
Odd jobs like seasonal delivery driver and garage attendant have helped, but only some.
$17.50 an hour full-time job is not going to pay any bills. It's not going to pay anything. You know, it's only going to help if you have another job on top of that.
And even with occasional freelance audio work that pays much, much better, the family is falling behind.
Definitely all credit card payments are not happening.
Credit card payments are just not happening at all?
They're just not going to happen right now. Yeah.
Not even the minimum?
No, I can't even make the minimum. Because I'm prioritizing for car payments, mortgage payments, oil payments, gasoline to get to these jobs.
Gabe is still hopeful his old job will bounce back eventually. But until it does, the Annells, like so many other families, are in a state of economic and emotional distress.
It makes me angry. It makes me feel defeated. And it's hard to watch my husband go through it because he is a very, very intelligent person. He's a very capable person. He's a hard worker. And it's just unfair to have everything just sort of taken away.
When we first spoke to you, you thought maybe this would be over in 3 months, maybe 6, 9 months was something that was being floated. Did you ever in a million years think we'd be here 2 years later?
No, as a matter of fact, we were very hesitant about doing this because we were like, do people really want to keep hearing about how terrible everyone's doing? You know, it felt like kicking a horse while it's down kind of thing. And we decided, yeah, because it's important, because maybe people don't realize that it's still happening. Maybe people are in their own bubble and feeling like everything's hunky-dory now, and it's not.
So it's definitely not, as a matter of statistical fact, hunky-dory right now. So the census numbers were like 1 in 3 families struggling to pay their bills. Our poll out this morning says most Americans are concerned about paying their bills. And it's all about where you started, and you're trying to hold on to where you were. Right. So he's saying 1750 is not paying his bills. For someone else, that's good enough. Right. He's sliding down the economic ladder, and he's afraid. And a lot of Americans have that fear right now. Here's where I was 2 years ago, and I'm dying to hold on, and I feel myself sliding back. It's scary.
It's relative to your financial circumstance, but I'm slipping, and it feels like I'm drowning right now in the deep end.
Exactly.
You can understand their frustration and pain, especially if you hear the Biden administration say things are better, you know, that the economy's on the upswing, things are better. Yeah. So I admire the fact that he said we were reluctant to do it, and then we thought, no, we really need to tell people. There are still a lot of people in trouble.
A lot.
And a lot of people still in
Even
pain.
if your wages went up, if inflation is higher than your wages, you actually got a pay cut.
Yeah.
What's his original job? Audio?
He was an audio engineer for these
events.
big corporate events, and they haven't bounced back. Although I will say the company that he used to work for hired one of the 2 workers back, so he may get some good news in the days ahead. We'll see. We're hoping.
Yeah.
Or another company.
Or another company.
A lot of people can identify with that family. These are stories that we need to hear.
Yeah.